Inquiring minds would like to know, why in the heck are so many Americans obsessed with Germany and Germans? I mean, besides the obvious fact that it's a dope country with dope people, what other reasons might you wonder that people from my country are interested in people of Germany? Well, we're going to find out today. We're going to be reacting to a video titled Why Americans Basically Love Germany and Germans, and kind of go from there and break it down. And if you guys have anything you want to add to that, you can go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. If you guys are unfamiliar with this channel, if you guys are new, we post videos every single day. And for all my people that are new, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. I'm diving really deep into the European culture and stuff like that. Got started in 2018. Did a lot of international reactions to pretty much everything. And now I've kind of narrowed it down to the Balkan region and, you know, Europe in general, as far as like, you know, reactions and stuff goes, and teaching myself languages. Right now I'm focusing on learning German, so it's pretty interesting. It's been a really interesting journey. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and dive nose deep into this thing. Once again, subscribe, hit that like button, and let's go ahead and see what this lovely lady has to say. This is off of Lifey's channel, so go ahead and subscribe to them. Link is in the description down below as always. And let's not waste any time. Los.
I've ever heard the German people described is they are like hard-coated chocolate candies.
Hard-coated chocolate candies. So you mean like like how do I describe them? Not, because Starburst is soft. What are those? Oh, like those grandma candies and stuff. Those caramel candies. Those what do you guys call them? Because you guys have them. They are a German candy. They're caramel candies, but they're really hard. But this time it's like chocolate, but with like soft stuff on the inside.
In that they have a hard outer shell, but on the inside, they're sweet and melty. Once you became friends with the German, you had a friend for life.
Nice.
They're hard people to get to know at first, but once you're in, and they love you, and they share with you, and just they take you in. But it takes a little while to break past that exterior. If you can open up that line of communication, it's awesome. And they're amazing, and they'll talk your ear off,
Hell
which
yeah.
is great. Living in Germany was a huge kind of like culture shock to me. Not in that German people are so much different than Americans or so strange from Americans.
To be honest, after like doing like a year and a half of reactions to like German stuff and content related to Germany and everything, I mean, Germany just basically feels like a more introverted America, kind of, with like, you know, a better in some regards structured governmental system and whatnot. Yeah, there's some cons to it, but there's not a lot, you know. There's not any like blaring cons to Germany that I've seen. As far as the culture goes, I don't know, I like the culture a lot though, a lot. Like I have dove so deep into the scene, the culture, and everything. Now I'm just like, wow, like this is tight. And of course, the learning process, the language learning process right now is amazing. It's incredible, man. I guess I've slowed down a lot. Like my progress right now in German is like, it's not the best, but what's been holding me like accountable to like making sure that I learn something every day has just been watching TV shows where you know, that are in German. TV shows that are in German, or setting my settings to German with English subtitles and stuff like that to kind of learn more words and stuff, you know, and get familiar with how things are used. I think that's very important.
It was very rare for people to have cars, especially in the cities, which is where most of my apartments were.
Well, that's also here in America too, though. You're not going to find a lot of people that have or that own their own cars. If you go to like Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles and stuff like that. Well, Los Angeles, it's more common for people to have cars because it's more spread out. But like Chicago, New York, it's more common that people would take like the public transportation system. So I don't think that's just a German thing. That's definitely like a city thing.
They were really close to downtown areas. So very few people in the cities have cars. And if they do, they don't drive them very often because Germany has a fantastic transportation system.
Once again, this is like applicative to any place that has a decent transportation system. Like Chicago, amazing transportation system. So there was no need to use a car. Although I saw cars everywhere and people do use cars quite a bit. There's also almost 3 million people in the city. There was really no need for people to have or own cars out there. There's taxis, there's Uber, and there's a really efficient bus and train transportation system out there. So same with New York. But like I said, I think the statement she just made could be definitely applied to like cities worldwide that have, decent transportation systems. But I see where she's coming from, I guess.
They have big trains that go from cities to cities and cross countries. They have the streetcars, the Bahns, that Straßenbahn, that travel along the roads. But those are also called U-Bahns. They go under the ground too.
Nice.
They also have tons of buses. It's a very, very organized system and a very user-friendly system.
That's cool.
I think in Hanover, the Bahns ran like every 15 minutes.
Oh, that's cool. I know a lot of people in my Discord were telling me like, dang, like the trains are always mad late, da-da-da-da-da. Not always, but a lot of the time they are pretty late. I'm guessing, just taking a wild guess, that it just depends on the area you're in, the day, and all that good stuff. Because I do remember taking public transportation anywhere. Buses and trains would not always be on time. Like even when I was in Korea for a bit, where I am going to be back out there, trains, they're very, very efficient. Buses are very, very efficient, but there are still times where they're a few minutes late. Depending on what's going on. There could be construction, there could be accidents because, people do interesting things. And before you know it, boom, you have a dilemma and your train is delayed and all this craziness, And
the buses were a little bit more iffy, especially the further out you'd go away from the inner cities. Growing up in Virginia, outside of a school bus, I'd never ridden a city bus. I'd never been on a train. So that
makes sense. Okay, so she's from more of like a rural area. That makes a lot of sense then.
That was fun. The weather in Germany, it can get pretty humid.
And unpredictable.
So summers are hot and winters are cold. The winter that I was there was apparently record-breaking. It was the coldest winter they'd had in 50 years.
Ooh.
And if any of my friends are watching this, they know that I don't really like the cold and I don't do well with the cold. So that was just a fun little twist. So lots of snow during the winter, especially up on the coastal cities like Bremen and Kiel. And lots of wonderful, warm summers and thunderstorms. I served in 5 cities. I started in Hanover. Then I went up to Bremen. I served there for 2 transfers. And then I went over to Kiel.
She served. Wait, hold up. Pause. Was she in the military?
I served there for 2 transfers and got to spend Christmas there. I'll talk more about that later. And then I served in a trio, in a DRIT, in Glückstadt for just 1 transfer before I went down to Bielefeld and ended my mission there after 2 transfers.
Oh, it was a religious thing. That makes sense. That makes sense. I was like, what? She was in the military? No way.
Every city that I was in at the time that I was in it was my favorite. There were so many unique things to experience in each city, either large or small. Even though the people were still all German, they had their own dialects, or they had their own accents, or they had their own traditions.
That's what keeps throwing me off too, even to this day, man. When people speak German and whatnot, I have to look at it as like how people speak English in America, because it's like if you say, oh, I speak English, and you switch over, then you just expect to hear English words. Boom. You don't really think any deeper than that. But then when you're in predominantly English speaking countries, you also have to be very mindful of the region of the country you're in. You're like, ooh, okay, well, over in this area, people sound a bit more, they sound drunk when they speak English. On this side, they sound very upscale, high maintenance. On this side, they sound more kind of carefree, you know? So all that to say, that's the same, it's applicative for sure to German, because there's all these different dialects and everything. And oh man, like one of the most interesting experiences was having a conversation with someone who lived in Berlin, an older person, and then a person who also lived in Bayern. And hearing Bayerisch from, I don't know if y'all call it Berlinish or something like that, but someone who speaks German from Berlin was such a wild difference, because like there was a lot of ich bin, and then Bayerisch, dog, like I was just sitting there with my eyes crossed, because I was like, what did you say? Like hey, it's something I got to get used to, I guess. Like there's different dialects everywhere, and it'd be interesting to be familiar with them. Obviously, if you learn Hochdeutsch, then you'll have a good footing for a lot of these dialects, but there's even still dialects that even most Germans don't understand after knowing, you know, Hochdeutsch and stuff like that. I mean, and also what I've also noticed too is I feel like dialects are very like interpersonal. Like I know we talk about this a lot on this channel, but how to break down cultural barriers and talk and make friends, you know, in Germany and stuff like that, and whatnot, especially if you're a foreigner and you're visiting for the first time and you want to, like, you know, make a lifelong friend. I feel like one of the easiest cheat codes to making friends in Germany is taking the time to not only learn the language, but to learn like the dialect of the place you're going to be in, because I feel like dialects are so uncommon for foreigners to learn, that when foreigners do learn them, you're almost like it's like a warm feeling. It's like, you know how to speak my language, bruh? Damn, who taught you that? You know? And before you know it, like it lets you in on a small talk level, which is like a gateway to some deep talks, and before you know it, you have a lot of friends. I feel like that's huge. Like I said, if you put in the extra effort to learn more about the culture and specifically the language, you know, then I feel like you can go far. Sorry, I know I keep looking off to the side. There's a spider on my wall as I'm talking, and it's like kind of close to me, so I'm like kind of tired. I'm not gonna really freak out, but if you hear me shriek during the video, that's because the spider is literally on me. But I probably might not have an emotional reaction. You'll just see a spider crawling over my face. It'd be like that sometimes.
I mean, most of the traditions were about the same, but I mean, everyone has different family traditions and things like that.
True.
But it was nice to be able to see a wide variety of cities. I crashed my bike in the winter in Germany in a skirt. So while I was in Kiel, it was the coldest winter on record in 50 years. Several of the cities ran out of salt to de-ice the roads and things like that. So it was pretty bad, and it was really cold, like into the negatives and things like that. So
yikes.
It was not really fun to go tracting in on those days. But that was also one of my cities where we had bikes. And there was one day we were not even 100 feet away from our apartment. And we were turning down this road to get to the outreach center. But I hit a patch of ice on my front tire with my front tire, and I swerved/slid into the only thing that was on the sidewalk, which was a stop sign. And I ran right into the stop sign, and luckily I didn't fall over. I didn't totally crash, but I broke off my gear shifter and had a pretty good bruise on my thigh.
Oh my God.
And so we didn't have an extra bike for a while. Food in Germany is awesome. Germans know how to eat. They know how to eat real well.
And know how to cook too, man. Sheesh. Like, you guys have amazing little recipes and stuff that I will be trying later on today.
They do breads really well. They do cheeses really well. and they do meat and potatoes really well.
Nice.
They're not a big vegetable eating culture, but that's okay because everything else they eat is.
Hey man, meat's important. Like vegetables, what are vegetables? Come on now. You know, it's all about fruits and meats. Honestly, serious question for those that are still watching. If you guys could pick to eat one for the rest of your life and eliminate the other, would you rather eat veggies for the rest of your life or fruit for the rest of your life? I mean, you could still eat meat and bread in these cases, but would you rather have access to all the different types of fruit in the world for the rest of your life or all the different types of veggies? If you got to pick one or the other. If you say fruits, that means all the veggies disappear. If you say veggies, all the fruits disappear. I personally would say all the fruits because I love sweet stuff. But I don't know. Some people like veggies a lot more.
Just so delicious. They eat a lot of sausage, bratwurst, or just Wurst. They have another meat dish that's called
Rouladen?
rouladen.
Yeah,
Rouladen.
yeah.
It's been forever since I've had to say that. Rouladen. So it's this
Rouladen.
flat piece of meat.
They roll it up?
A thin piece of like long meat. And they usually put like a mustard and seasoning and stuff in it, and then they roll it up and tie it. I think they put it in the oven. I think they bake it. But it's really good. It's excellent. And that's usually paired with rotkohl, which is red cabbage that's been in, some people do applesauce or apple juice and vinegar and things like that. So it's soft and warm.
Rotkraut. So basically, I didn't know that they put like, and I've reacted to a lot of videos that had like, you know, rotkraut in it, but I didn't know that it had apple juice and stuff like that inside of this. I just thought it was straight up sauerkraut that was like red, you know, that was it. But I've heard good things about it. I just feel like all the pictures I've seen of rotkraut has been like, they haven't been appetizing. I'm just like, ooh, what the hell is that? But I'll still eat it. I mean, like I said, like, food does not have to look good for me to try it. I'll try some of the craziest stuff ever. Listen, really quick story time. I remember in Korea, I went to this hibachi restaurant and I ordered, I forgot what type of fish it was, but I remember they served it to me and they sprinkled salt on it. And I'm not lying, y'all, when I say this fish got up and walked off my plate. Walked off my plate. I had to catch it. Like, it wasn't alive. It just had a weird muscle reaction to, like, you know, the salt that got poured on it. But I'm like, that's weird. Imagine like feeling that fish move in your mouth, like, because it was still moving. It didn't like stop moving or anything, which is like, it was weird. I don't know if you guys would, you know, ever experiment with eating something that moves while you know, trying to eat it and stuff. But it was actually cool. I felt like a beast. I'm like, oh, where are you going? It's awesome.
And then of course there's sauerkraut, which is the white cabbage, and it's not sweet like rotkohl is. But
So rotkraut is sweet, sauerkraut is not. Sauerkraut's dope. But bratwurst, it's but that's like everybody knows that. I mean, obviously, I don't know if like brats go good with rotkraut though. Like, what goes good with rotkraut? Let me know in the comments down below, man. I'm curious.
It's also served warm, but I did not like sauerkraut before I went to Germany. And now it's like one of my favorite things. So they know how to. I
honestly still am not the biggest. I'm a bigger fan now of sauerkraut anyway, of sauerkraut than I was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I hated it. I'm like, what the hell it is? Yeah, but then as I got older and whatnot, I realized that you know, that it's just based on how you have that sauerkraut. You know, like I think as a kid, sauerkraut was obviously cold and everything. And just my dad got the sauerkraut from Walmart, and I'm not sure if you guys have Walmart somewhere in Germany, but if you do, y'all know the quality of the food is not the best. But I had sauerkraut 2 years ago, and like I said, it's amazing. I think what made it good too, what made this different than what I remember having it as a kid, like it was cold. Like when I was a kid, it was just cold and weird tasting and stuff. Like the sauerkraut I had like last year and the year before, it was warm. It was so good. It was so good. But I also had it at a German restaurant, so it was made properly. You know what I mean? Like it was in good hands. Let me go ahead and see if my camera is acting fucking weird. Hold on. All right, it's not. It's doing decent.
cook it. If you want to try sauerkraut before you go, Make sure you eat it warm.
Yeah, see, like I said, warm. It's got to be warm.
Don't eat it cold.
Yep.
That's just a bad idea.
It is a horrible idea. Some people will take cold sauerkraut and put it on like bratwurst here. Like they will literally pull like sauerkraut out of a refrigerator or like a freezer box and then sprinkle it on your bratwurst. And I'm like, what? Why is it cold? Why is it cold, bruh? This don't taste right.
And if you can, get it from like a German delicatessen or something like that, because
Nice.
they'll make it correctly.
That's cool.
There's also Knödeln, which is a really common
I've heard of that.
side dish to bratwurst. It's kind of like soft balls of potato, but they're not. It's not really mashed potatoes. I don't know. It's just good.
That's cool.
Knödeln.
Knödeln.
And then of course there's Quark, which is the best thing to ever come out of Germany. Quark.
That's like Germany's version of yogurt. It's got to be Germany's version of yogurt because there's recipes. First off, going off of what you were saying about the Knödeln, we're definitely going to make that on this channel. We are going to make some Knödeln and Dampfnudeln and all that good stuff. I'm actually going to be filming a Dampfnudeln video after I'm done filming this. And I hope it will taste amazing because I've heard nothing but good things about it, especially with the vanilla sauce and all that good stuff. I'm hype. I am very excited. And then, of course, Knödeln is different. It is way different than Dampfnudeln, but Knödeln is good. I heard it's like a dough/potato blend. Oh my God. I'm going to have to make it and see if you guys like how it turned out, but hype for that.
It's like a yogurt-based dessert, but it's like whipped, so it's really light and airy and fluffy kind of, but it's like a mousse, like a runnier mousse.
That makes a lot of sense.
Usually it's a fruity flavored and there's little pieces of fruit and stuff in it. That
Cool.
was probably my favorite dessert. Anytime at an eating appointment, if they would bring out Quark, I was
Quark
usually
is-
pretty happy.
it's fire.
And then of course they have all their bakeries.
Yeah.
And they'd like to do a lot of things with poppy seed, which is
Yeah.
known.
Okay. So poppy seed is a conversation of its own because what does poppy seed taste like? Is it sweet? Is it like bland? Like what is it? Like I've seen it in so many different pastries, especially in Germany. What is going on with the poppy seed, y'all? Like, can somebody explain to me what poppy seed tastes like? Because there have been pastries where I'm like, oh, that's a cinnamon roll or whatever, and it's not. It's like a pastry with poppy seed in it. But then some people have told me that poppy seed tastes sweet. Like, what is the general taste? Like, if you could describe poppy seed in a taste, what does poppy seed taste like? Because I've seen it, I just have never had it. So I'm like, interesting.
They had poppy seeds in sweet things and in savory things. They did a lot with cheese and bread. Okay, so a typical dinner in Germany, they call it Abendbrot, which is just evening bread. So in Germany, the heavier meal tends to be lunch instead of dinner like it is here in America. In America, the big dinner, or the big meal of the day is dinner. That's where you have like your meats and your vegetables and your carbs and things like that.
Yikes,
But
yeah,
in Germany,
that's big
the
here.
heavier meal tends to be lunchtime.
I wonder
And
why that
with
is.
dinner,
I wonder why that is. I wonder why the heaviest meal in Germany is lunch and not dinner. And also, I feel like people are going to say, oh, well, your body, like you typically go to bed right after dinner, so it's probably not good to eat a full meal before you go to bed. It's good to eat something, to hold you over till the next day, but it's probably not good to eat a big meal before you go to bed. But then other people would argue that it probably is good to eat a big meal because you go the longest period of time without eating when you sleep if you get a full 8 hours because you're going 8 hours without eating anything, so your body's using whatever you just ate right before you went to sleep to provide energy to repair your muscles and get rid of any illness you have and da 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 da. I don't know. That's a pretty interesting talking point, though. I wonder why the most popular meal in Germany is lunch. I wonder how big you guys' lunches are. Like, how big are you guys' traditional lunches? Like, geez.
dinner, they eat something really light, which is why it's just called Abendbrot. Usually their sandwiches are always like open-faced.
That's cool.
So a typical German Abendbrot would have various types of bread that you can choose from. It
Hold
would
on, pause. I gotta make sure my camera always turns off by itself, so I gotta make sure occasionally that we're good. Okay, we're good.
have
Awesome.
like a cheese board out that would have all kinds of different meats and
That's nice.
cheeses. And then you would also have, occasionally you would have some condiments, like different types of mustards or mayonnaise and
Yo,
things like
hey,
that.
listen. What I definitely have to say is y'all do not play when it comes to mustard, man. Some of the best mustard I've had in my life was like German mustard. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought mustard was just mustard because we have this plain mustard here in America, which is it's okay, but not the best. Like you guys have like some authentic ass mustards. I'm not sure how my dad was able to get it, but he got his hands on some like literal like delicious mustards. And I'm like, this is fire. And that what brought was wait. God damn, I might switch citizenships, man. Or get at least a dual citizenship. Y'all keep making mustard like that, man.
I've never
Almost had
really
me
been
crying
able
out
to
here.
really recreate one here in America since I've been home because we just don't do bread like they do. They have really good bread.
Well, listen, fun fact. If you guys ever travel to America, the best bread you'll get in the United States will always be in the southern states. The southern states have very good bread. The northern states will be like, would you like cardboard or a brick? That's all we got, you know? Now, I'm not saying the southern states make it better than Germany because most likely they don't, but they at least try to put in a smidgen of effort into the bread they make when you go to bakeries. You have to go to a bakery, an exclusive bakery. Now, bakeries aren't super common, to be honest. Actually, they are pretty common, but they sell like cakes and stuff. When I hear bakery here, I think of like cakes and cookies and treats, not necessarily just regular bread. So it'll be a little harder to come by, but when you do find them, they're like relics. They're pretty good, not gonna lie.
Lots of cheeses, not a lot of yellow cheddar.
Yellow cheddar is fire. Okay. Okay. There's this thing, right? Here in America, we got these two different types of yellow cheese. I mean, there's so many different types. It's insane. But two main types that I can put them into different categories. We have government cheese. We call it government cheese. It's that big block of yellow cheese that you can like peel off into slices and stuff. You literally use your thumb, you peel off the slices. That shit's nasty. It's called government cheese. Because that's what they serve in prison and stuff like that. And like even in the military. Then you have extra sharp, you have, cheddar cheese in general, just cheddar cheese. It's like the cheese we all know about and da-da-da. And that shit is fire. Now, I'm not sure if they call cheddar cheese American cheese, but extra sharp cheddar cheese is my favorite cheese in the entire planet. It's always been my favorite cheese since I was a little kid. That is something about my palate that has never changed. Extra sharp cheddar cheese. So good.
They don't do, or like the orange cheddar.
Yeah.
So American, they call it American cheddar cheese. It's really expensive. But they have so many other types of cheeses. There's Gouda, there's Butterkäse, Münster, there's something Edel something. But they have lots of different cheeses to choose from, so you don't miss the cheddar cheese when you're there. Okay, so let's talk about holidays in Germany. One of them is Carnival, which I guess you could say is kind of their Halloween, but not really, because Carnival is more for like adults. I think it's a lot bigger in the southern part of Germany. We weren't allowed to experience anything like that because Germans do love their beer.
Hey.
And when there is an excuse to celebrate and to get drunk, they take advantage of it.
That's cool. Honestly, like Carnival, I want to like be able to experience that, dress up in like a costume and stuff, go crazy in a very, very modest way, meaning just drink beer in a costume. I don't know. It'd be nice to hop in some random costume and do some cool stuff. I want to like see if I can find a superhero costume to be in. That would be nice.
A lot of holidays in Germany involve parades. They love parades. They love marching and dressing up and getting involved in things like that on certain holidays. So Carnival usually has a parade. There's also, I don't remember the name of it, but it was when I was in Bremen, so it was getting closer to the fall. It had something to do with lanterns, and little kids at school would make these little paper
What is that
lanterns, and they would march around the neighborhood. And so you would just see these little lanterns bobbing around down the street. I forget what that one was called, but that one was really cute. And then there's also Sylvester, which
Sylvester is basically like New Year's. And if it's anything like in America, I remember as a kid living in Chicago, man, I would wake up and if like, I had to go to the grocery store down the street. It'd always be the morning after New Year's, right? Or the morning after, like, the New Year's parties and stuff like that. You would see like confetti. You would see New Year's decorations all over the ground, alcohol. You would smell vomit everywhere, and definitely an occasional condom or two. Like, it was wild. Okay, not gonna lie.
which is their New Year's, and it involves a lot of fireworks. A lot of fireworks. I was in Kiel during Sylvester, and we were on a ground floor apartment, and so our neighbors from all around us were setting off fireworks like all night long. So going out the next day after Sylvester, it was like a ghost town. There was fireworks trash everywhere.
Yep.
There was no one on the street because everyone had been up to like 3 a.m.
Yep,
drinking.
that's exactly what I was just saying. Oh man, it's such an interesting experience. It's like walking outside to like the aftermath of like a zombie apocalypse, but like not in the way that you would expect. Like, it's like the zombies decided to party and get wasted and stuff like that. It's like walking into that way after you wake up. Like, it's a weird experience.
And shooting off fireworks and things like that. But the biggest holiday in Germany is Christmas.
Hey, that's my biggest goal. If I could do anything in Germany, it would definitely be visiting the Christmas markets. The Christmas market scene I got introduced to when I was like 6, and in Chicago they try to recreate the German Christmas markets, and they call it like the little Christmas village and stuff in the middle of the city. Like, they'll have these wooden stands set up where they sell bratwurst, the makeshift glühwein. I didn't even know about that. They don't call it glühwein. They call it something else, but it's pretty much the same thing. They'll sell like hot tea, basically. They'll sell hot tea. It's like cinnamon tea, but they can add alcohol in that cinnamon tea, or cinnamon wine or whatever. And a bunch of other little things and stuff. They sell German delicacies at these different stands, and it looks super dope. But I would want to actually experience it in Germany. That would be huge. That would be life-changing for me, honestly. I'm going to come back from Germany like 30 or 40 pounds heavier. I can already feel it now. Like, that's why I'm training so hard now.
Weihnachten. And they do it so well. Like, it's big in America, but it's a different kind of big in Germany. Like, it's more special there for some reason. And I don't really know why I say that it's more special in Germany, but it just is. It just is.
True.
So I was also in Kiel for Weihnachten, for Christmas. My favorite thing about Christmas in Germany were the Weihnachtsmärkte. So they have these Christmas markets that they set up in downtown, like town square, basically. And they have booths and food trucks and all that kind of stuff. Almost a little bit like a farmer's market, but in the winter. So people sell like crafts that they do. They do a lot of woodworking. There's people who sell little trinkets, ornaments. There's tons of food to eat. And
that's we're here for the food. I am here for the food. I got a whole like thing planned in my head as far as what I'm gonna do out there, man. Like, what's your favorite food? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious. What are you guys' favorite foods?
They have like music and lights and garland and all this stuff, and it goes up like pretty much like December 1st, and it's all the way till Christmas Day. All of my Christmas presents to my family that year came from the Weihnachtsmarkt in Kiel. You only sing Silent Night on Christmas Eve. You don't sing it before, and you don't sing it after.
Pretty sure Silent Night's a religious song, too. I'm not really that religious at all. I'm not religious at all, to be honest, but isn't it like Silent Night, Holy Night? Yeah, it's definitely a It's a religious song, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely don't sing it before Christmas Eve. But it was really fun to have 3 days dedicated to Christmas.
That's cool.
You know that special Christmas spirit you get around December?
Yeah.
Where people tend to be a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more giving, a little nicer. That's the case in Germany too. And whether you're religious or not, I think people still experience that. So the German language. I actually took German all 4 years of high school. Nothing can quite prepare you to speak a language until you're actually there in the country, speaking the language and hearing the language every day.
Makes
German
sense.
is notorious for having these really long, drawn-out words, like Naturwissenschaft.
Oh my God. Yeah. From what I've learned with learning German is y'all will take like 8 words and smush them together to make one word. That's what we basically mean. Like, whoa, what the hell?
Science. There was one word that I found so difficult to pronunciate properly, but it's the word challenge, Herausforderung. See, now I can't even say it actually. Herausforderung.
Jeez.
And I had such a hard time saying it because when you break it apart, like each section in a German word, you can kind of break it apart and see where else it comes from. So in German, if they need to create like a new word, they'll just take 2 words that already exist and smush them together, and there they have a new word.
Yep.
So
makes
they
sense.
are notorious for having really long words. And some of them are really fun to say, and some of them not so much. Apparently, I need to practice saying Herausforderung again.
Hey, that was fire. That was fire. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. We learned a lot today. One of the biggest things I got out of that is I'm definitely going to be traveling to Germany for the Christmas market scene. I mean, who would not want to experience that? You know what I mean? That would be tight. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys are into the vibes. We post videos on the daily. Love you guys so much. Bis später, Leute. Ich liebe euch.
Well, 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 what a pleasure it is to see all of your beautiful faces at the end of this lovely video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sure you know, as I've mentioned in the past, we do have a Discord that's linked in the description down below, and we would love to have you a part of the world's greatest community ever, BRAYGANG. Yes, if you've made it to this point in the video, you're officially a part of the community. So go ahead, join the Discord server. Link is in the description down below. And we also have other social media as well, like Instagram, Twitter. We're live. We go live on Twitch quite often as well. So it would behoove you to, go ahead and subscribe to the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/JamesBrayGang. Join the cause and be a part of the greatest, literally the greatest community ever. Okay, it's simple. Just go ahead and do those little things. We're trying to grow on all these little platforms and everything, and it really means a lot. Now, I know you guys stumbled up across the channel and you're like, what does this guy post? Like, what kind of content does he post? Reactions, vlogs, pretty much whatever comes to my mind. All right, it's random content. I don't know what I'm gonna be posting 10 years from now, but I do know that you can stick along for the journey, and it really means a lot. Now, for every single person that subscribes and follows all of the accounts that I have made, and all the links will be in the description down below, that's an automatic entry for any future giveaways I decide to have. I'll remind you when the giveaways take place, but you'll be surprised what I will be giving away because you guys have supported me so much up to this point, and it's only right that I do the same thing back. Thank you guys so much for being amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.